Good morning to all of you. Mining Engineer Association of India, Hyderabad chapter. We will be continuing the program for another 2 hours. It will be in different phases. There will be some eminent speakers. Innovation through startup in mining and mineral sector. Mining sector's contribution to the Indian economy is to be from 2% to 7%, as in the most mineral-rich countries. However, we are not able to do that. The startups play a vital role in making available of the latest art of technology, including the induction, information technology in giving end-to-end solutions from exploration to extraction. The mining industry globally has experienced a trend in the number of startup companies in various mining-related operations. Startups can be in all aspects of mining operation, and there are 200 startups globally and started mostly from 2018, and in the countries like Australia, US, Canada, Chile, these are very active. And about 68% of these startups are in these 4 countries. And India is also not lagging behind. The concept of startup is the traditional mining companies to leverage the innovative services provided by the startups instead of inventing everything from themselves. So we will take up this concept forward, and we will be seeing the presentation by 4 eminent personalities, stalwarts in mining. One of them is our chairman of Hyderabad chapter, Mr. Sushil Kumar. He will be giving a presentation on global startups coming to domestic India. And then Mr. Biplab Chatterjee, he is the director and CEO, Geo Vale Services. He will be the next speaker. And then there will be Mr. Sundar Singh, who is the CTO of Bimson Group. And then Mr. Arjun Jananan, who is expert in mining startups. And we have a international speaker, Jan Verlumen from Australia. It is my privilege to welcome all of the participants, delegates, and I welcome our president, Sri Sanjay Patnaik, and the vice presidents who have joined us, and the council members and the past presidents. The MEAI, under the leadership of present President Mr. Sanjay Patnaik, is marching ahead in the digital world. Mr. Sushil Kumar has taken the lead, and he has taken a lot of pain to see that the students of different mining organizations are joining in this webinar. Mr. Sushil Kumar, we all know, he has been the Director in Mining Geology of Telangana as well as Andhra Pradesh, and now he is the Chairman of Mining Engineer Association of India, Hyderabad chapter. He is a mining engineer with vast experience in mining field. His expertise is policy framework. His contribution to policy making is well established in the mining sector. He has now thought of that the mineral sector should be given an expedited impetus.
Respected President Sir, Present President Sanjay Patnaik Sir, Dr. N.K. Nanda Sir, past presidents from Hasiddin Saab to V.S. Rao Saab to and T. Chaudhary Saab, Rajgopal Saab, Victor Saab, A.K. Potari Saab. I welcome everyone for this particular webinar where a proper introduction has been given by Dr. Nanda Saab. This is mainly a very, very novel subject where the younger generation can really take it as a profession and then go ahead for their livelihood, and also increase the production of the mineral for various types, that is from coal or non-metallic or metallic, any mineral. Mine is innovation through startup in mining and mineral sector. This is mainly contribution towards the Atmanirbhar Bharat. So globally, Australia, US, Canada, South Africa, Chile, they are really having good startups. Mining companies leverage in the innovative services provided by startups instead of investing by themselves. Similarly, the government of India has to really support these startups. From 2012 to 2017 are about 200. Coming to the focus areas of the mining startups, startups mainly focus on 6 areas to improve the mining sector. That is technology, infrastructure, environment, finance, human resources, operations, and within each category, there are several focus areas. Coming to the focus areas of technology, which is the first aspect of the mining and products to traditional mining companies, including wireless sensors for machine-to-machine data collection, cloud networking, virtual and augmented reality headsets, Internet of Things IoT, cloud platforms to enable machine intelligence, drones, web-based exploration data management systems, mine site automation and reporting, machine learning and mining exploration, next generation geonumerical modeling. These technology things which is given in the written form is depicted here for knowing for the knowledge of everyone, where in the technology we can use all these aspects: drones, robotics, artificial intelligence, 3D printing, data, advanced analytics, Internet of Things, then 3D images, all these which are there in pictographical thing have to be really looked into. Then coming to the other aspects of the parameters, that is infrastructure, environment, human resources, finance and operations, remote water monitoring, waste management, online training for mining companies. Same thing in pictographical thing place. Infrastructure, we have civil construction, FIFO, that is first in, first out, house rental, food service, environment issue, water management, energy saving, operations, maintenance, cost optimization, service products and solutions. I think the startups in majority of the countries concentrate on these aspects. That is 37% on technology, operations 26%, 10% environment, finance 10%, infrastructure 7%, human resources 8%. So these things are to be really to have with the startups as their kitty, so that they can impart these things to the industry for the better production and for increase of finances. Now coming to different countries, Australia we have 43 startups, US we have 41, other countries 28, like Canada we have 26, Chile 24, South Africa 11, India 6, Russia 3, Mexico 3, like that we have the percentage split among the number of startups that are there. Coming to the top 10 mining startups cities in the world, they are Toronto, Sydney, San Diego, Brisbane, Melbourne, Ottawa, Calgary, Johannesburg, San Francisco, Perth. As you see in this picture, the entire states of Australia, they are there in this, all the 4. So I think they are leading in the startups. And coming to Indian opportunities, the mining sector's contribution to the Indian economy is expected to rise from 2 to 7%, as is in the most mineral-rich countries by 2025. And we have the potential of 12% of the non-farm jobs out of 150 million people to be inducted in jobs by 2025. Challenge is how to ensure these youths become a strong asset to build the nation. I think the answer would be the innovative through startup in the mining and mineral sector. Coming to actual opportunities for startup in mining sector in India, the country aims to boost production from natural resources to spur economic growth. Startup offer technical assistance, consultancy, research, and even financing services. Startup thrust upon power production, infrastructure development, and indigenous manufacturing. Mining for iron ore is only around 200 million tons as on date, while for coal it is about 400 million tons. This will double in the next 5 to 10 years. The potential for mining in the country is at over 500 billion tons in the next 5 to 10 years. Reasonable return on investment would be there, and the mining sector revenue supposed to rise to 30 to 35 billion. Coming to Satyamama portal has been there with the Ministry of Mines as of today, which funds to the scientific organizations, the academic institutions, universities, national institutes, and R&D institutions recognized with the Department of Scientific and Industrial Research. The website is also given in the slide. But this aspect is only a start by the Ministry of Mines. I would like to also tell you that Ministry of Mines in the month of May has come out with this particular innovation through startup in mining and mineral sector, where it wanted the recommendation from the state governments also. I request all the audience who are present here to also follow with the state governments and see that certain recommendations basing on our webinar that is being conducted now, so that the inputs will be more. Now coming to broad thrust is given in the following way for the Satyabhama portal, that is prospecting exploration for strategic rare and rare earth minerals, development of new technology for mineral exploration, mining on land and deep sea to locate and exploit new mineral resources, research in mining methods. This includes rock mechanics, mine designing, mine equipments, energy conservation, environmental protection and mine safety. Improve efficiency in the process, operations, recovery of byproducts and reduction in specification and consumption norms, research in metallurgy and mineral beneficiation techniques to utilize lower grade extraction of value added products from mine waste, plant tailing, development of new alloys and metal related products, and then evolve low capital and energy saving processing systems, production of materials of high purity, cooperative research among the organization. And in the conclusion, I would like to really put forth what startups are doing and will have to actually take from the startups. Startups are emerging that will help the mining industry to improve its activities in different areas of operations, that is exploration to extraction of minerals. Any industry, we need to utilize these new services to improve business. One of the barriers towards improvement is the reinventing the wheel by the entrepreneur. A lot of what they might be trying to achieve is already out there, offered by specialist startup companies. It is imperative that mining industry has a clear understanding of the services offered by the startups. In summary, mining leaders should take the leverage of the lucrative services, optimized products, and collaboration between the traditional mining companies and startups has the potential to really take the harnessing of the thing, of the latest technical know-how that is acquired. Yeah, with this background, really thank you all the audience who has patiently given your time and listened to this particular new and novel topic for India. And good luck to the startups. Thank you very much.
Now, Mr. Biplab Chatterjee, who is the next speaker after Mr. Sushil Kumar, is able to share his screen. So, I will speak about Mr. Biplab Chatterjee. Before he gives his presentation, Mr. Biplab Chatterjee is now Director and CEO of GeoValley Services. And before that, he is basically a geologist and started his career in India from ONGC and then joined GSI. And during his stint in GSI, he was actively exploring number of minerals. And when he was in Chhattisgarh, he was given the National Geoscience Award for finding out number of minerals. And then after that, he was also involved in Rio Tinto Exploration India, which is the famous Bandar Diamond project. And he was largely working in that exploration of Bandar Diamond project. And after his stint in Rio Tinto Exploration India, he thought of becoming an entrepreneur. So he is the best person to tell about to start up, how to start a new business, how to take it to forward, and how to get your things properly arranged. So he is now Director and CEO of GeoValley Services, which gives different type and many services in the like digital aspects of mineral exploration domain. I now request Mr. Biplab Chatterjee to give his presentation. Thank you. Now over to Mr. Biplab Chatterjee.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nanda. Patnaik Saab, if you're hearing, good morning, and good morning all the delegates and distinguished colleagues. Primarily look at innovation ecosystem in the mineral sector, innovation opportunities in the mineral exploration, because MEAI and Mr. Sushil Kumar requested me to speak specifically on mineral exploration opportunities in India. Let me continue the mapping which Mr. Sushil Kumar for you just a while back in terms of innovation opportunities in the mineral sector. If you look at the minerals value chain, everybody knows that mineral, obviously, it has to be taken through geology to mine, to extraction. And once you get a mineral, you then create your different products, extract minerals and do the value-added products. You use different kind of skills and knowledge when you are looking at value creation in any of these states. When you are looking at geology and the resource, you're obviously looking to unravel nature. And later on, when you extract and look at creating value out of these mineral deposits, you're looking at human ingenuity. All these stages, there are opportunities for definitely startup. While you're unraveling nature or you're carrying out mineral extraction or mineral value, when you're creating a value out of that. Now, what are the skills which will be required to create such value, and where the folks who are looking at creating a startup or innovate can join in? So there could be science, opportunities for all kinds of science in our domain, in the minerals domain. Certainly opportunities for engineering and technology, including right from mining and geotech to all other engineering aspects to artificial intelligence, and even health and safety. All these have significant opportunities for startups, innovation, and whatnot. Our domain is not at a very high level of innovation yet. We have a long way to go to optimize and to create major difference to the way we are operating today. Also, societal science, that's another aspect where we need a lot of innovation, including the last one, which I've highlighted, geocognition, where you communicate with the community. We need new ways of looking at how to communicate with the community. And there could be maybe specialists who could be looking at how to communicate with the community about geology, about nature, and about minerals and mining. A little bit more detail and the opportunities therein, continue the mapping of opportunities there. So look at iron ore, for example. There are many, many ores which we actually mine out, and look at number of mineralization styles in which these kind of iron ores are found. Each of the styles of mineralization, different geographies covered by different regolith profile, would require different tools, different strategies, and different processes for exploration. So certainly a lot of opportunities. Each of the areas, we haven't unraveled everything. We haven't become perfect in everything. There's a huge amount of optimization. There's new discoveries to be found. Let's take example of barite. And remember Mangampeta barite, which India has, one of the largest barite deposit in the world. India is one of the largest producer of barite in the world. And these are the values which can be created in barite. And what we are doing at the moment is having the lowest value creation, which is using barite as a weighting agent in drilling fluids. All these other opportunities are actually high value opportunities, none of which we are actually using at the moment. So there's a significant amount of innovation opportunities in barite in India, technology development, using for greater value creation. RE, there is a huge amount of discussion these days about RE and critical minerals. I can see social media full of discussion on RE and critical minerals. And of course, we are a little bit troubled that China is so much way ahead in RE. The entire world is troubled, actually. But to tell you frankly, these 15 plus to 17 elements in RE, you've got 160 minerals where RE can be found. Only 4 of those are actually ore, which are listed there. Many, many different uses have been found for RE, but still the entire RE value chain from exploration to mining to extraction to product development is still a long way to mature. So good opportunities for the entire value chain. Whoever has a desired skill. Are there opportunities for startup? Absolutely. There are opportunities for startups. For example, your smartphone. These are the elements, more than 50 different elements which are there, which could be there in a smartphone. Look at the elemental properties and the material science. There is a scope for innovation. Let's see what are the innovation platforms and innovation startup incubators in the world which carry out innovation. Industry, that does a lot. And I've worked with one of those industries, Rio Tinto. I've been part of some of these innovation processes. Rio Tinto, everybody must see in YouTube videos on how Rio Tinto is working on the mine of the future. That's been entity, Rio Tinto, which has promoted a lot of innovation and a lot of startups as well. Innovations which have gone out of Rio Tinto and have created startups. Soil tracy process, for example, was to take out synthetic rutile from ilmenite, which had iron as well. Diorite, another mineral which has been found in lithium, aluminum, boron, lithium, aluminate. But we don't know, what Rio Tinto did not know when it was found in Serbia, large deposit, on how to get 2 elements, boron and lithium, out of it. Now they have 20 years later, they have developed the metallurgy and now going ahead with the production of ferrite from Serbia. That's going to be a game changer. Other things have been listed there, many others. So industry has been a big promoter of innovation for sure. India's mineral sector faces unique challenges. Unfortunately, Indian mineral sector has been lagging in promoting innovations. So academia, another area, an entity in the world which promotes a lot of innovation. Industry, academia, collaboration creates a lot of innovation. Independent academic research creates a lot of innovation. If you want to see what kind of excellent innovations have been done, go to CSIRO's website. Australia, International Institute of Sustainable Development, Manitoba, many areas of innovation which have been listed there, in exploration to beneficiation to even usage. Even now the new ones which are coming up in training, safety, augmented reality, virtual reality, these are where it is coming up. There are collaborative industry platforms. We'll be hearing one industry platform after this from Sundar Singh, like MEAI and METS Ignited. You must see, this is a collaborative industry platform in Australia, and now they're seeking industry collaboration from the rest of the world as well, doing some excellent work in innovations. Government entities, Australian Geoscience or NR Assistance to Mining Innovation, Satyabhama, which Mr. Sushil Kumar just talked about, is one such effort by Government of India, started in recent times, although very restricted. I hope it opens up to everybody. It is restricted to only the government entities and the research and academia. If it opens up to us, people like us, I'm sure there are many of us who will be able to not only get the benefit, but also contribute to the value creation there in innovation. Lastly, a few more slides, just to finish my talk. Look at the exploration opportunities in India, many opportunities. India still has a lot of Geological Survey of India is doing an excellent job. One of the best standards of baseline data collection which has happened in the world, I must say. But still there are many baseline data collection gaps in geology and understanding the regulatory profile in detail, regional geochemistry. We don't have the hyperspectral map of the country, geophysical data, there are many gaps. So, where are the opportunities? Obviously in smart data collection tools, data collection and management processes, warehousing, processing tools, integration, modeling. All these areas are areas where internationally we have seen individuals coming up with innovations and creating the startup. So what we need is a collaboration between survey agencies, academia, industry, private consultants and researchers, and tech service providers. Going ahead a little bit more about illustrations in exploration. So mineral exploration, system understanding, exploration area targeting, etc. These are the areas to work on. And if I give you some examples on opportunities in India, for example, the extension of the known gold deposits in South India. We only produce 2 tons of gold. We have got many numbers of it. There is Dr. Vasudevan here. He will list out so many number of gold, potential gold deposits. We need to have larger gold deposits. Certainly we need to understand the mineral systems there. IOCG style copper gold. Remember Olympic Dam, which is there, with one of the largest copper uranium gold deposits in the world. We don't have any equivalent in India, whereas we have the domains in India. Real style nickel, Deccan Trap, its intrusion into sulfide bearing sediments. Opportunities there. Coking coal. We have not even looked at coal basin below the Deccan Trap. I'm sure there could be opportunities there. Rare minerals, critical minerals. We just started looking at that now. So opportunities in predictive mapping, rapid geochemistry, etc., which we have already mentioned. Last couple of slides in terms of some of the innovations which have actually happened in India in the exploration sector. Rio Tinto exploration, the team which I was part of, we did conceptual targeting for area selection and diamondiferous kimberlite discoveries. And we've made lots of discoveries, more than 75 diamondiferous kimberlite discoveries in Andhra, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, and Bandar. One of the largest kimberlite, diamondiferous lamproid discovery using a very rare tool, which is the chromite trace element chemistry, an innovative tool to discover Bandar diamond deposit, which turned out to be one of the largest diamond deposits found in last 2 decades in the world. So De Beers discovered about 50 or 60 kimberlites, never done in India before. Geomysore India Limited, another fascinating startup company, it discovered structural controls for gold mineralization. We have Dr. Devarajan, who is here today among us. He was involved in it in looking at oriented drill cores and finding new structural controls, and found a new deposit there in Jonagiri, which they are now looking at exploiting. Hindustan Zinc Limited, Rampura Gucha and Sindesa Kud, when they took over, it was only 70 million tons. Rampura Gucha is now 250 million tons of resource using excellent extension drilling. That was another, and some very good tools there. So there are quite a few exploration startups in India. Junior exploration company, Australian Indian Resources, I must mention its name. In geophysical Physics, we have Parts in Geophysics from Dr. Sanjay Rana, Indigeo Consultants, Craig Rains doing an excellent job. All startups. We ourselves believe that we are doing a good job in the services sector. Shiva Analyticals, another startup, was started long back though in the analytical services. Now a world-class company, Data Code in software training, doing quite a good job. In conclusion, I must say, India, which produces about 3.5 billion tons of dirt annually and associated waste material, has huge opportunities for innovation and creating startups. India's mineral sector startups need the right ecosystems and supporting platforms, which are missing here at the moment. It's just coming up to innovate and serve the country. And India's mineral sector has the potential to help create Atmanirbhar Bharat by unleashing the power of innovation and startups. Whether we double our GDP contribution or not, but certainly we have huge opportunities for innovation and startup. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Biplab Chatterjee. We have heard a person of eminence with a geoscience award and MTech in applied geology and a MBA from Deep Business School, North Carolina. He has given a lot of input regarding innovations, opportunities, exploration, baseline data gap. In fact, in India, there is a lot of gap in exploration. In other countries, when the exploration of minerals has been in a large extent, we are lagging behind in that area. So his point and everybody's point is that exploration has to improve in our country, and maybe this startup concept will definitely give a boost to it. With this, I will give him a big thanks and will request the next speaker, Mr. Sundar Singh, who is Chief Technical Officer in Bimson Group, and he has been extremely busy in different mineral sectors, and he studied mining engineering from College of Engineering, Guindy, and also received his doctorate from Indian School of Mines. So he is Dr. Mr. Sundar Singh, and I will request him to give his presentation. His point will be, actually, in fact, we know him as an incubator. He has been giving support financially and technically to different young entrepreneurs who are coming up with startups. His group is very active in this area. So, Mr. Sundar Singh, request you to give your presentation. Now it is over to Mr. Sundar Singh.
Yeah, thank you very much, and thanks for the opportunity. Yeah, as Mr. Nanda said, at Bimson, given our 70 years of experience in global mining industry, primarily for iron ore, but with an exposure to global industries, we started looking at whether the lagging in technology angle of the mining operations, not necessarily of Bimson, also across the globe, whether that can be compensated by the low-hanging opportunities that are available in the adjacent industries, and then whether that can improve the overall mining business for the entire global industry. With that intention, we have started Prospect Mining Studio and Innovation Platform in collaboration with the Innovation Hub based out of New York, that's New Lab in Brooklyn. And I would like to share our thoughts and the learnings thus far towards bringing innovation into mining. So, and mining, if you see, to start with the project, we have capex overrun of globally, minimum of 30% overrun of capital expenditure is there across all the mining projects. That's the estimate, minimum of 30%. And yeah, we all have decreasing ore grades as days go, and much more marginal deposits have been still in the ground without even coming to the reality than the number of mines they are operating. And human fatigue, it's workforce related fatigue and related safety issues are predominant in our industry. And so is the case with strata stability, and the rock breaking technique in either in the blasting stage or in the crushing and grinding is still a myth. Though we have done enough breakthrough, we can't precisely predict how the rock is going to break in these activities. And I would say grinding is one of the most inefficient process and highly energy intensive, which we are continuing with that, and not much breakthrough has come. And if we compare mining industry's overall equipment effectiveness, we are even the best of the mine in the world is not even 50% of the best in the manufacturing sector. That's the range at which mining operations operate currently. And even if we have any recent advanced sorting techniques, they are still restricted to the lumpy portion. Still, we are not able to sort the fine ore, irrespective of what kind of mineral we are dealing with. And irrespective of which jurisdiction we operate, more so in our country, water quality that is coming out of the mine is still a challenge. And the list can go on and on. If we look at the entire mining value chain, what are the dimensions we primarily deal with? If we look into that, I would put them into 4 baskets. One is the people who are in the mine, their practices and processes. It may be related to their productivity and safety, and materials. Materials, when I say the ore and the strata, waste rock, and the machines and fuels and consumables that are used to handle with this rock. And the other one is the effluent, which impacts air and water, and also the heat in case of underground mines at least. And the third domain will be the economics, the whole economic part of the entire value chain. The fourth will be that is external to the mine, but that is very near to the mining operation. That's the society, which comprises of men and human being and the property, and biotic and abiotic, which consists of air, water, soil, noise, all those things. I think primarily any given mine, whether it's underground or open cast, tries to deal with these 4 domains. And if we try to look at these 4 domains, principally we are looking at safety, efficiency, and impact of the entire operations of the business, I would say. Safety, whether it is the men who are working or outside the mines, are including the safety of the strata, stability of the strata, and safety of the equipments. And when it comes to the efficiency, efficiency again we can apply to the people and the processes we follow, equipments we deploy, or the control mechanisms, environmental control mechanisms we have. So we can apply this efficiency to all these domains. And finally, we also try to understand what are the impacts. It can be positive impact, can be negative impact. What are our activities in this value chain at these 4 domains does create impact. It can create on the people, it can create on the economics impact, and the impacts can be on the society or the outer ecosystem to the mine. So these are the 3 aspects I think every mining business looks into when we deal with these 4 domains. And the approaches we can aim for when we look at innovation through technology as an opportunity is what we are looking at is to what extent we can on real time at speed and accurately sense the data, the information. The data can be coming from the machines, coming from the survey, coming from our process plans, equipment performance details, whatever it is that we are trying to see how best we can to near real time get this information, analyze those for getting insights and patterns, and thereby are we able to execute the decisions even on real time at speed and accurately. That's, I think, the journey has been thus far to see, and we are trying to improve that to come to a near or if not the real time basis. And how do we choose to innovate in mining? There can be multiple strategies. One can be, we can look at very early stage technologies which have not matured yet. They're still at, say, on a concept level or an idea level. It needs further development before we can deploy on the ground. Or there can be advanced technologies which have been tested in various places. The proof of concept is done, even they have been prototyped. They are only have to be possibly piloted, tested in few mine cases. So it all depends on what's the level of appetite and the risk individual mining operations can carry. So there can be a balance between either it's early stage technology or advanced technology. And the technologies can bring impact that is very incremental to the business, or it can be a quantum jump or step change in the output that it can create. And we can also look at either we want to really develop a new technology, or we can adapt and tweak the technologies that are available very adjacent to our industries. When I say adjacent, I would consider oil and gas. I think oil and gas OEE, which I earlier referred to, original equipment, overall equipment effectiveness, is almost 3 times that of mining operations. Within a mining also, underground is almost half of open pit when it comes to overall equipment effectiveness. So there is a lot of opportunity to just adapt and tweak to and customize for mining operations rather than looking for original development of technologies. I can give some instances in the following slides for how adaptation can make us to get quick wins in the business. And primarily in our entire operations in the business, we try to look at the value chain to monitor and collect as much information, data to predict them. These data, whatever information we are getting either from the mines, mining equipments, or the ore quality, or from the process plants, or the effluent qualities, we use all the real-time information to predict what can be the impact, how can we improve certain aspects, how can we reduce certain aspects in the value chain. And if these two things are traditional approaches, I think that's where the paradigm shift comes, is whether we can remove and replace any of these processes or steps what we are right now taking up. For example, if you are blasting, can we do away with blasting? If we have to do a complete mining where we have to extract, say, depending upon the strip ratio, 1:4 or 1:5, can there be a precision mining? Thereby, even in underground mining, we need to do some development. Whether we can totally replace this, I think there are technologies like sustainable mining by drilling, where they are trying to drill and mine just by drilling, the wide space drilling of say 2-meter dia, taking out the entire narrow vein deposits. That kind of concepts are coming in, but they have to be tested on the ground. If you look at the technologies which are very near to our industry, but may not have originated from our industry, to look at monitoring and collecting information, I think computer vision, photogrammetry, and all sort of sensors are today available, or rather getting improved in the space of monitoring, measuring, and collecting the data or information from the value chain. When it comes to predicting, I think machine learning takes a lead. It has, I think, made a revolution because of its unique adaptability and customization. It's today applicable in every part of our value chain. The rate of adoption is only the matter of question. And simulation, as we know, it's an old methodology, but today simulation can be combined with a digital twin to get various possible scenarios and situations which are we need not experience those realities. And virtual and augmented realities are coming into the mining, not necessarily for training, but also for remote maintenance and visualizing certain catastrophic situations, how to prepare the team, workforce for that. I think that's where a lot of these predictive tools are coming into play into mining. And removing and replacing, if you see, these are all kind of a step change technologies which are coming up, and certain things are already used in mine. In situ leaching is happening in some specific limited mines, especially in uranium sector. Muon topography has not been fully implemented, but there are two to three test cases where it has established ore deposits deep below the underground. Synthetic biology is where rather than conventional bio-leaching, whether we can engineer these biological organisms to do the specific activity, that means engineering the bioorganisms. And hard rock mining is still today a batch process. We don't have a continuous mining process like that of say bucket wheel excavator or continuous miners in soft rock mining. Hard rock is still a batch process, which itself per se brings in a lot of inefficiency into the value chain. I think there are attempts going on with a lot of major global OEMs to get into continuous hard rock mining, whether it's open pit or underground. And as I said earlier, whether we can look at an alternative for blast-free rock breaking, like using thermal spalling or any other methods, and even millimeter wave energy system is one which looks into breaking of rocks or penetrating rocks, even to a distance of few, if not single digit, even 2-digit kilometer depth it can go through. This is the kind of development that's happening. And on-bucket assay is like, instead of getting the assay or quality of the material that we mine, at subsequent stages when we dig in the bucket itself, whether we can get the quality of the material so that we can take on the spot correct decision. I think there are companies which have come out with solutions for on-bucket assaying. And to totally replace, if not even electricity or our diesel or any fossil fuels, I think hydrogen fuel is what is coming up. And last week there was a news that FMG has already deployed the utility vehicles which will be powered by hydrogen fuel. If you have an overall look at these all technologies at various three verticals, almost every technology is outside our mining. They have not been created only for mining, or they have not been developed in mining. They all have come from adjacent industries, and they are, I would say, universal technologies which can very well be adapted and customized for mining applications. And I think that's where the journey is just going for. And if you look at the amount of innovation that's happening within the value chains in the mining, operations takes the predominant attraction in terms of effort and energy and fund that's going, whereas it is the decreasing trend towards exploration and workforce optimization, environmental management, and even supply chain and finance takes a very, very back seat. And how do we approach mining in innovation? We can look at kind of extremely opposite poles angle. That is, one is technology that's coming into the industry, the other one is the problems and challenges and issues in mining. So which should dominate, whether technology should push itself into the industry or the challenge should pull the demand. That's the trade-off one has to carefully make, which will be the right option to a solution, because primarily we'll have to see whether we are looking at a completely unique solution or we're looking at slightly a better. Is it incremental or it's completely a differentiator, that particular solution? So that will come depending upon how we are able to synergize the technology with the challenge or the pain point in our operations. But definitely at a cost which can be viable, if it can be at a frugal cost, that's what primarily for Indian operations, that's what is needed. But if all these things can be done, these are all, I would say, purely technical. But when it comes to implementation, that's where the human element or the cultural effect comes in. Most of the change management, including that of technology, gets stuck mainly because of the issues in implementation. Though it is non-technical aspect, but that's where the human element comes into a picture. And if you look at traditionally, the R&D has been done by major mining houses in the world by in-house, whether it's mining houses or OEMs. They had the capability, bandwidth, and the infrastructure to do in-house R&D. And then came a set of entities that are government-funded projects or government grants, which are available to work on specific areas. And then academia, where the basic level research happens. And then there are research labs like in our country, NIRM or SIMFER. And I think in our other countries, there are multiple research labs where dedicated domain-specific research activities are happening. And these are all external to the mining houses, but whether the research that is happening in these in these entities, are they commensurate with the problems in mining? It's a question mark. And that's where I think the third avatar has come, where there are consortia, there are associations which are specifically focusing technological innovation into mining spaces. have come up globally. I think India is yet to see such consortia to come up. I think startups can take a lead with support of mining companies to create such of consortia. And there is also a platform where open challenge is given by any mining company globally to address a specific problem of theirs, and individuals and startups across the world try to come and come with their solutions and see which is the best solution, which is cost effective. And the third is creating a specialized technology incubation platform, especially for mining, the one like what Vincent Group has done along with the new lab, this Prospect Mining Studio. There are a lot many technological incubation platforms outside India. The Prospect Mining Studio is first of its kind, though it is virtually, it's a virtual platform more of, because all the companies who have, all the startups who have come to this incubation platform are all operating from a virtual mode. They are spread out from all the continents of this world, working from their own place, but addressing a specific problem in specific type of mining operations, leveraging their unique capabilities. I think the right-hand bottom corner set is basically outsourcing the research and development or outsourcing innovation rather than to the top left in-house R&D. That's the complete shift that's happening today in mining also. And if you look at specifically in India, what are the opportunities where technological innovation can be brought in either by startups or mining companies or R&D institutes or even these consortia? What comes to my mind is we need to have India-specific orgenesis models to identify the numerous amount of, because if we compare Western Australia and India, which history says that they were all together and then got separated because of tectonic movement, we share common geology, but the level of variety of mining deposits, mineral deposits and mining that's happening in Western Australia, we are not even a fraction of that. That means there's a huge opportunity for us to understand our geology and develop genesis models which are specific to our country, and also whether we can bring out some new discovery methods which are very frugal and very simplistic, which can be adapted, because this RC drilling, reverse circulation drilling, came from Australia primarily because given their geology, that was the most optimum method of discovering the concealed deposits, because Australia is completely covered with the cover. The outcrops are very limited. So we need to have some customized discovery method for India. And we are still a long way to go for workforce optimization, whether it's productivity or safety. And we need really geological and mining softwares which can be cost effective and very simple to use, because the level it has penetrated in our domestic industry is very, very limited. Given the human resource, that's enormous human resource that's there in the mining industry, from mining, geology and mineral discipline, the level of adoption of these technologies, mainly the softwares, is very, very minimal. I think we need to relook at that. And the real-time data sensing is we are very, very way behind. But for maybe few advanced mining operations or plant operations, we are still more on an analog mode. We need to get into digital mode, more so from the mining operation. Though our processing plants have gone into digital mode, our mining need to get into digital mode to get real-time data sensing. And as I earlier mentioned, our overall equipment effectiveness is still lower even from the global mining average. And we need to look at mining and processing techniques that can really unravel these marginal deposits which have been found by GSI for decades ago, but we are not able to open up, if not for other forest and policy issues, even from technical angle, they are small in volume, low in grade. So whether we can take out those deposits to really see the GDP contribution from mining, and also because of our population load and given our groundwater and surface water inventory we have, we need to more look at dry process methods, even though we are not completely arid climate, but to cater with our general population, our processing methods need to be more of a dry methods. And also, again, coming from the population angle, we need to be extremely careful about dealing with our air and water quality, and there has to be some custom specific, country specific solutions, technical solutions. These are the thoughts I had about this, and thanks for the opportunity and your patience to listen to me.
Thank you, Mr. Sundar Singh, for a nice presentation. I think you have given a big message that from top left corner to right bottom corner. That is means you have said that from in-house R&D, let us go to innovative startups. It's a fine message to the mining industry. Earlier also we have thought of, we have discussed why then the traditional mining companies should do everything. Why not startups, like technology part can be done by the startups, and the best thing is that the up to our webinar regarding innovation opportunities in startups. So your whole presentation was a nice path, showing path towards how to innovate and make new startups. Thank you very much. And now I understand our president, Mr. Sanjay Patnaik, has already joined us, and I request him to formally inaugurate and give his inaugural address for this webinar. Over to Mr. Sanjay Patnaik.
Thank you, Dr. Nanda. Thank you once again. And my profuse apologies to all the participants for the inconvenience caused to them. And I welcome each and every participant who have tuned in from India and abroad for this webinar. On behalf of the Mining Engineers Association of India, I also welcome many of the former presidents, senior members and distinguished personalities of the mining fraternity who have joined this webinar. A special welcome to all of them. Let me just say a couple of sentences about the Mining Engineers Association of India. This is one of the bodies, professional bodies, which has 26 chapters across India and over 3,500 members. We generally provide a platform for exchange of knowledge and exchange of ideas for the betterment of the Indian mining sector. Also act as a group which provides policy inputs to the government, the federal government and various state governments for the growth of mining sector in India. The topic chosen today is very apt and futuristic. Already some of these panelists have already spoken, and I'm sure you must have found them interesting and all. As India targets to achieve its GDP, it is important for the mining sector to significantly contribute to the national GDP. There has been some structural reforms taken by the federal government, and there are tremendous opportunities which has come up in the mining sector for growth through adoption of technology. I also envisage tremendous scope for the startups in our mining sector. Government has come a big way in promoting the mining sector startups. I will quote the Prime Minister's views on this. The Prime Minister has said that convergence of technology, integration across drivers, fields, distributing architecture and people willing to back an idea have opened a new world for enterprise. I see startups, technology and innovation as exciting and effective instruments for India's transformation, for creating jobs for the youth. And this is exactly the topic of our webinar today. A startup ecosystem in India has already been created through new policy initiatives, which would not only promote startups, particularly in the manufacturing sector, but the micro units would be also able to graduate from micro to small and medium units and so on and so forth. To ease the financials, the credit availability, the government has created this micro units development and refinancing agency, which is popularly known as Mudra. So therefore, the ecosystem for the growth of startups in India is absolutely right. World has witnessed many startups in the mining sector over the years. With a strong push from the government, mining startups are growing in India as well. We all know the success story of the exploration, the famous exploration startups from the junior miners. So therefore, going ahead, I think there are many opportunities in the startups which my esteemed panelists, comprising of experienced people and young entrepreneurs who themselves have their own startups and have experience in this field, have already presented and are going to present further. We also have overseas panelists who would also be talking about their experience, which would be particularly interesting to India. I see the growth in startups in many areas. Some of the areas which I would narrate as the mobile testing laboratory, startup providing mobile testing laboratory which determines the physical, geotechnical, and chemical characteristics of rock and mineral beneficial for quick and easy on-site analysis during exploration. Drones are being extensively used. Drone survey, performing aerial survey using drones can be established. The company can work as a third-party service provider for mine monitoring and surveying using drones. Survival chambers, from a safety point of view, a startup based on manufacturing of survival chambers to be placed in every underground mine, so that in case of any calamity, the workers entrapped can use it until help comes their way. This is the need of the hour. Telerobotics, some of the ores are not easily accessible, such as the uranium ores, which are radioactive and cannot be handled directly by the miners. Technological solutions to extract mine safety services is also another area where the consulting firm on safety, health standards can be looked upon. So there are many exciting areas which I think as the Indian mining sector grows, as we aim to contribute to our national GDP, I must thank Mr. Sushil Kumar, the chairman of the Hyderabad chapter. Hyderabad chapter is one of our very active chapters, and our head office is also based out of Hyderabad. So therefore, Hyderabad chapter is always in the focus. And Sushil Kumar, who along with Mr. Narsimha, the secretary, has taken a lot of initiative in organizing this international webinar. So thank you, all of you.
Thank you, Mr. Sanjay Patnaik, President MEAI, for your inaugural address. Your point is very well taken, that drone surveying and the mine monitoring. And to continue your views, and the next subject speaker, Mr. Arjun Janananda, will speak about the enhanced mining productivity with drone data. and Mr. Arjun Jananand is a entrepreneur, and he has started his own company called Hubayar. Mr. Arjun Janananda, who has started this Hubayar and has rich experience in civil engineering field. He has a deep understanding of advanced technologies such as computer programming, image processing, photogrammetry, data analysis, and machine learning. I think he is a person in our panelist group who will enlighten us how to start up, how he has started this Hubayar startup company, and in the present mining scenario, what is his effort and what is his role. Uh, Thank you, and I now invite Mr. Arjun Janananda, who is the Chief Technical Officer and also the promoter, to give his presentation. Over to Mr. Arjun Janananda.
So thank you, Dr. Nanda, for the great introduction. So it is indeed an honor to present in this webinar with all the dignitaries and all the eminent personalities from the industry. Well, I'm Arjun, and I am the CTO of Hubayar Technologies. We are a startup, and I'm here to give the perspective of the startups, that how exactly we have worked through our way with the mining sector and the solutions that we have provided. Let me share my screen. Right. So today I will be talking about how remotely we can manage multiple mining site operations with drone data intelligence. And this is precisely what my startup does. Currently we are working with a few mining departments of state governments across the country, and also a couple of mining companies in the country. So the topics that I will cover today will be my experiences as a startup founder in the mining sector itself, and also the opportunity to infuse technology in the mining sector for the value chain. So if there are any startups or students who are looking at it, we can, I will tell you about where all opportunities lie, and who are all the different stakeholders in the mining sectors, and what technologies will appeal to them, will be useful to them. And also I will give a glimpse of the value add that we are providing as a startup to the mining sector already. And eventually I will talk about a couple of case studies from our own projects that we have worked on. So to begin with, I started my company around 4 years ago, and what we did initially was there were a lot of other technologies. Like I myself, I am not from the mining sector. I have worked mainly in computer programming and in banking sector. But there were a lot of new technological equipment and sensors and technologies that were coming into market around 5 to 6 years ago. Things such as drones, cloud computing, the big data, analytics, and all these things were coming into the sector, and I had a pretty good knowledge and hold of it, not in the mining sector but in other sectors. So we, with different iterations and talking to different people in the mining industry, we kind of understood what all are the gaps and the problems, and in what all ways we can provide solution to them. Right. So at Hubayar, what we do is we use drone data technology to provide an end-to-end solution to address various pain points of mining sector. We primarily convert the visual data that we capture across the mining site using drones into actionable, measurable analytics for our customers. And we provide this data over a cloud-based platform. So what I mean by that is that the data will be available anywhere in the world and from any devices, unlike how it is presently, that the heavy systems on mining sites keep the data to themselves and the data is not distributed easily. Right. And we give very insightful analytics and reports that can be shared with all the stakeholders instantly. And to do that, how do we accomplish this is that we have defined a workflow through which this data is collected and is available for analytics for all the stakeholders of the mining sector. So the mine operators, contractors, or project management consultants, they just need to launch the drone with on a pre-programmed automated flight. And the image capture is completed using drones, wherein the drones fly on automated paths to capture overlapping images of the entire mining site. Right? And once the drone comes back, all you have to do is you have to upload all the images and videos that are collected from the mines into our platform. This is the Hubayar platform that we have. And you just have to upload. Here on the screen, it is showing where exactly the photos and videos were taken on the mine. Once you click on upload, what happens is The data gets uploaded on a backend into our map engine and automatically gets converted into very high resolution 2D map and 3D models of the same. Right, and like you can see, this is a 3D model where you can do a lot of measurements and analytics. So let me talk about a few of the outputs that we generate from the simple drone photos and videos that we do. So primarily the surveying aspects, we generate all the aspects of topographical survey. Here we have generated contours at very high resolution. You can get contours up to a centimeter level accuracy, unlike the traditional total station surveys where it maybe up to half a meter or so. Right, and here we have another tool wherein I just click on any point on the map and it shows me the exact latitude, longitude, or it might be in a different system over here, latitude, longitude, and longitude XYZ value of each point. Again, very useful from the topographical survey point of view, which helps you to design the tail dams, haul roads, and everything. And also we have other tools to measure distance and area, very accurate distance and area can be measured right sitting from your head office or from anywhere. You don't have to be on the mining site to know exactly what is happening there. And we also have a very important and useful mining tool, which is primarily used across mining sectors in the world, is the volume measurement tool. Again, what we are doing here is I'm just drawing a polygon around a stockpile, a bunch of stockpiles, and I just have to click on run. And what is happening over here is that since we have the data in 3 dimensions, we have points for every single pixel on the map. And we are able to get area and volume calculated in a very, very precise way. And this is a lot more precise than, again, the traditional survey, because there what is happening is you are using total stations, you have to walk around the site and you take a few measurements. But here, maybe around 20,000 points have been considered to get the measurement. Right? And again, in the 3D model, we are able to create a digital twin wherein you don't have to be on the site again and you can do the measurements, you can know the height of stockpiles, the volume, the quantity, and all those things. So all this becomes helpful in various aspects of mining site. So for example, when it comes to blasting, right, what we are able to do is with this 3D reconstruction surface models for areas to be blasted can be created. And this can be done at a fraction of cost and time. You don't have to really be at the site to plan all these things. And these models help you to accurately analyze the area to be drilled and also to calculate the volume to be extracted post blasting. And a comparison of 3D after the blasting allows you to better manage the resources, such as the number of trucks required to haul the material out of the site and things like that. Right? And all this is done without the use of traditional survey methods, which become quite cumbersome. There is another aspect that we can do again from a drone survey on our Whovier platform, is that we are able to simulate the surface water flow of the entire mining site. So what we just need to do is click on streams over here, and as you can see on the screen, the surface water flow is simulated. That is, when it rains or when there is heavy flooding, how exactly the water will flow. All this is calculated based on our GIS analysis, based on the elevation value of each pixel that we have on the screen. Right? And we are talking about frontier technologies here bringing in our frontier technologies here in mining, and how it becomes, how it is a lot more superior compared to the traditional way the mining industry has been going on for the last 20, 30 years. See, when we are using drones, we see that all the measurements are done digitally and remotely, and without the use of expensive and time-consuming measurement methods, such as people on the ground with total stations, like I mentioned. And it's also very, very useful when you have to cover a large area of land like 2,000, 3,000 acres. You get all the data, everything on your computer right in front of you. Otherwise, it becomes quite cumbersome to manage such massive mining sites. And also, since mining sites themselves are quite dangerous in nature and stockpiles are quite irregular in shape, it becomes impossible to estimate their precise volume and get a stock of situation all the time, especially using the traditional methods. And it also becomes very costly to create, to do a frequent surveys on the site, because you need men and material to move to every part of the site, including treacherous and inaccessible areas on the site, right? And as I showed you, this enables very high accuracy calculation of stockpile value, and definitely helps you in monthly reconciliations and even doing your year-end audits, which improves your consistency and helps you maintain a better inventory of the stockpile and the material. And what we do in our startup is that all our calculations are based on visual data. And this data is not entered by any person on the site, so that human element of errors or misses is completely eliminated, and the cost of service definitely goes down. Right, and all the data, including historical data, can be verified, and it brings a new level of transparency to the mining operation. And validation of amount of materials that is mined and moved by subcontractors becomes very easy, and hence even pilferage, whether in storage or during transportation, can also be detected instantly. And this allows us in better forecasting of mineral stock for us. And all this data is, we make it available to the higher management or the company management as a map view, like it is shown on the map right now. You get the complete view of all your mining operations going on across the country or across the world. Now, towards the end of my presentation, let me talk about a couple of use cases. So we are working with government mining departments and also private mining companies. With the mining departments of state governments, what we are able to do is we are able to help them reduce the encroachment into mining area by reconciling the actual mining area with the government survey maps that are available. We kind of overlay them over the maps so that we know that I mean, there is no encroachment into mining areas by anyone. And also we do this periodically so that such data is available with the government all the time. And also we help in establishing the exact amount of materials and minerals that are extracted by contractors, and which has a direct impact on the state revenue as well. And with private mining companies, what we are able to do is we are able to provide them extremely accurate volumetric of their stockpiles, and we have helped them in their audit process. That has helped them tremendously in better forecasting of their mineral work. So in our experience, what we have seen is that implementing the Huvier solution into the mining operations has been of tremendous value add to all the stakeholders in the mining sector. It has improved the overall efficiency of large mines by providing accurate and comprehensive data, and in a very short time with complete details of all the site conditions, the measurements, and everything that is required. And also it has led to a better coordination amongst the team on site, and also enabled remote management of all operations, which is the need of that, I would say, especially in these COVID times with travel restrictions and social distancing in place. So, I mean, I have listed down in what all ways we have helped the mining sector. And these are my details. As a startup, I would like to work with all of you and discuss further, enhance our capabilities more. So I would like each one of you to probably reach out to me. I will also see from the organizers if I can get your details, and I will be reaching out to you. Anyway, I'm leaving my credentials in the chat. So please do reach out to me, and we can explore further and bring in more startup technologies and culture into the mining sector. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Arjun Janananda, for your excellent presentation. You have taken the whole audience and participants to a different digital world, showing it from the top, what can be done through drone technology, and perhaps it can be used by mining industry for surveillance and other mine monitoring areas. Now our last but not the least, one of the best presentations by our panelists from Queensland, Jan Vermeulen, who is the founder director of Certera, an Australia-based startup company specializing in coal and mineral dry processing technologies such as ore sorters. Jan has significant experience in sorting technology. Jan is chairman and co-founder of another startup, that is Boundless AM group of companies. Boundless AM develops, manufactures, and commercializes innovative equipments for the mining and other industries. Boundless AM also brings additive manufacturing to the mining and other industries with both design and manufacturing services. Jan is a founding member of Industry Advisory Board for the School of Science at the Griffith University, Queensland, which established the work integrated learning program for students to bridge the gap between the classroom and the industry. This is a very nice subject because the industry and the classroom both has to be properly combined. Prior to Sartera and Boundless AM, Jan was Vice President of Barco Vision for 3 years and Managing Director of Barco Machine Vision. So with this vast experience behind him, he is going to tell us about the innovation to drive financial performances. The companies, the mining companies today needs to cut their costs to float and survive. And his presentation will give a lot of insight to that. And now it is Jan Varman to give his presentation. Over to you, Mr. Jan.
Thank you very much for the introduction, Dr. Nanda, and thank you very much to the Mining Engineering Association for inviting us to participate in this webinar. Sorterra is, as you mentioned, a young company, but has reached the stage of commercialization of a quite exciting product. First, a little bit about our company. Founders, directors have combined experience of 90 years in the mining industry, whereby one of the directors has started a number of mines in Australia, one of the largest coal mines in Australia. Another director operates a coal trading company. And the two technical founders, Troy Blagden and myself, we've got over 40 years of experience with the core technology that we use in our equipment, which is called dry scan. I'll focus a bit more on the Indian context and how our technology may assist at particularly the coal mining industry in India. So in India, there are some very specific cost constraints and due to the nature of the coal mining industry. So first of all, we've got a lot of the coal mines that are in the east of the country, and the power stations where we're talking about the thermal coal, a lot of them are in the west of the country. So that means there's quite a significant transport cost. And another aspect or constraint is the water availability. And that's not just in India, that's in many mining countries where water is scarce, especially in the mining areas. So that poses a lot of issues for the mining companies. Third, there is the power cost, or the cost of running different types of equipment, which is quite high and can be, in situations like with grinding, quite important due to total cash flow of the production or the beneficiation. And then particularly in India, there is also the issue of real estate or land, where a lot of, or quite often, there is a land clearing that is required, which makes, again, the whole operation expensive, and also has got some impact for the environment and the people living in the areas. And then finally, there is the coal characteristics. So Indian coal is very different from the Australian coal. It's got a drift origin. So that means you cannot transfer directly, or not necessarily directly, one technology from, say, Australia to India and then expect it to work without any issues. There's a lot of near gravity material due to that drift origin. So it makes it a challenge for density-based systems, which is your traditional washery or any other system that's based on density to create a separation. So when we talk about processing coal, beneficiating coal in the washery, as I just mentioned, separation is based on the difference in density between the good quality coal and the high ash material. So what we do is we look at the different criterion for separation to trying to overcome all these constraints with the Indian coal. So we operate our system, our dry scan, in the electromagnetic spectrum. So as you can see on the left, we've got the electromagnetic spectrum, and we operate laser lights in the visible and the near infrared area. We use those lasers to form an image of every single particle that goes through the system. And then we've got some brains, computer power, that do the calculations on that information from the images, and that will make a decision whether a particle is considered good quality coal or high ash material. And that decision is based on preset parameters. And then finally, we physically separate one from the other by using small but very accurate and very powerful blasts of compressed air. Here we have a picture of the containerized plant in construction. And so in summary, so it's a dry separation process. So in contrast to a washery, we don't use any water whatsoever. By the fact that we containerized everything, so as you can see here, for instance, we've got the compressors in one container with the electrical board. We've got another container with the buffer tanks and a dryer. We've got the main container with all the sorting equipment out here. So everything is pre-fitted mechanically and electrically pre-wired, so it makes it easy for shipment and also allows for a very short construction and installation time at the mine site. It also means that it's relatively easy to relocate the plant from one area to another to stay close with the plant to the seam so that you reduce the haulage of product. And we also can scale it quite easily. So you stack the number of modules one next to the other, and by doing that, we increase capacity. So we go from, say, 200 ton an hour for a single module at the left to a 600 ton an hour plant on to the right. Very easy and very simple. So it's a high capacity but scalable, and one of the beauties is that we can change cut points in seconds, not in hours. And that's important when you run different seams, because depending on the seam that you run, the quality of the coal may be different. So you may have a need to cut or separate at a different cut point. So we can do that very quickly. So even if you have trucks coming in from different seams, you can manage that quite nicely. Another important point is that we've got a very low power consumption, and I'll talk about that a bit later on. In summary of the value proposition, it's an optimum reduction of the cash cost, and it's a total dry process rather than a wet process. There's some possibility for other applications. So we're focusing on coal, thermal coal, and coking coal, but there are some other applications like lime and even other minerals. We do have an animation on our website, and I encourage you to have a look at that to give you a better view on how what the operating principles are of the dry scan. We've tried on previous webinars to play the animation, but that doesn't work too well. So please feel free to go to the website and have a look. Dry scan is a sustainable solution. So as I mentioned before, it's waterless. So in India, currently, we've got about 600 million tons of coal that's not being processed. Assume that that would be processed in a washery, and you have around 100 liters per ton of coal that is required to actually wash the coal. That amounts to a very large quantity of water that would be used. So if we can process the coal dry, then all of a sudden there's water available for other uses, which would equate to about 10 lakh people as far as water consumption per capita would be in the Indian market. It also means that there's no need for tailing dams. And I mentioned before the use of land and the issue of the land clearance. Tailing dams take up quite a lot of space. So if we can work, because we process dry without tailing dams, there's a substantial advantage there in the reduction of land use. It also reduces the risk for contamination. I mentioned lower power consumption. So dry skin's got about 50% power consumption compared to a typical washery. Now, if we don't, so going back to that 600 million tons per annum, if we were to wash that with a typical washery, there's a lot of power that needs. So if we compare that to dry processing with our dry skin, we could use that or make that power available for about 20 lakhs people. The system, the dry skin, is quite compact. So again, same tool like with the tailings dams, it reduces the amount of land that's required for the processing. And it also allows us to have satellite plants rather than have one central big washery. And then finally, there's the improved performance of the coal-fired power station in case of the thermal coal. By improving the quality of the coal, by reducing the ash, the power station will have increased the performance, which will reduce the CO2 emissions. And again, going back to that 600 million tons per annum, if you calculate it all back to the 2005 year, that would represent about 3% reduction in CO2 emissions. Now, how do we drive financial performance? If we look at the scenario washery versus a dry scan, all the sustainable benefits before, they result also in a financial benefit. Less power reduces the operational cost. Not having the water, the tailings dams reduces the operational cost. Having a higher calorific value, because the ash content has been reduced, but there's no water added or no moisture absorbed as in a washed product, that increases the price and reduces also the freight cost. The short installation time, we're talking weeks and not months or years, allows the mine to have a very quick return on investment as compared to that long installation and construction time for washeries. Bearing in mind that dry scan gives you roughly a performance that can be like you have for dense medium cyclone systems. Business as usual, if we compare that to a situation where we would use dry scan, business as usual, you've got 600 million tons that's not being processed today. So imagine we can upgrade that from, say, as an example, a G11 to a G9 grade. That can give you a price increase roughly of around 25%, and then also reduced cost for whoever is going to pay for that freight cost. A lot of mines will have a selective mining because of different banding in the seams, which is the case in India as well. So there's two approaches in the mining area. You can either do a selective mining, which is the more expensive approach to the mining itself, or we can do a bulk mining, and then dry scan will clean up the higher ash feed that comes from the bulk mining. Again, the overall picture there is we reduce the mining cost, which is the higher cost, and by doing that, we drive financial performance. Feel free to contact either myself with the contact details here, or our agent, Empire Industrial Equipment, with Mr. Joydip Chakraborty, Mr. Ambuj Kumar, or Mrs. Ondrila Mukherjee. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think now Dr. Sri Narsimalu, our Secretary of MEAI Hyderabad chapter, will be speaking the vote of thanks. Now over to Dr. Sri Narsimalu.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Good afternoon to all. Respected Sri Sanjay Patnaik ji, President, MEAI, former presidents, vice presidents of MEAI and other members, and Sri BVR Sushil Kumar Garu, Chairman, Hyderabad Chapter, members of MEAI, delegates and participants. I deem it a great honor to propose the vote of thanks for making this webinar a resounding success. I, on behalf of the Hyderabad chapter, extend a very hearty vote of thanks to all who blessed us with their presence and took out valuable time from your busy schedule. First of all, I would like to thank Sri Sushil Kumar sir for taking the entire responsibility for conducting this webinar. He has taken entire work on his shoulder, and he has taken the subject very innovatively to adjust to all. I would like to thank Sushil Kumar sir. I would also like to thank Dr. Nanda Garu for well thought job of moderator to this webinar. This made the webinar very successful. Thank you very much, sir. It is my privilege to extend my thanks to Bipal Chatterjee sir, Dr. Bipal Chatterjee sir, Director and CEO, GOL Wale Services, for his presentation on startup opportunities in India mining industry, learning from global experience. Thank you very much, sir, for your beautiful presentation to this audience, and very much interested subject you have presented, sir. I also place my thanks to Sri Sundarji, Dr. Sundar Singh ji, CTO Wimson Group, for his talk on technologies for 4D sustainability in mining industry, for giving this good presentation. Thank you very much, sir. I also thank Sri Arjun Janananda Garu, co-founder, CTO Air for his good presentation on remotely managing multiple mining site operations with drone data intelligence. Thank you very much, sir. I also place my sincere thanks to Mr. Jan for Wambuman, co-founder and executive director, Soraterra, for his beautiful presentation on innovation to drive financial performance in mining, particularly in coal industry, that is on dry processing in coal industry. Thank you very much, sir, for your participation from Australia. Finally, I place thanks to members of Sintella for arranging this webinar. There was certain problems in initial stages. Thereafter, they have rectified it. Thank you very much for this good work, sir. Once again, and thank you one and all, sir. Nanda, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. All good things has to come to an end. All is well when that ends well. So I will now request Mr. Sushil Kumar to give his permission to close this webinar or say a few words and close. Thank you, Mr. Sushil Kumar.
Thank you, Dr. Nanda sir. We try to really, cope up with the very, very new subject in India and see that our startups will grow for the future generations so that they'll have good number of opportunities in India basing on our Atmanirbhar Bharat, where we want to have about 150 million jobs and also increase our production or GDP value from mining industry from 2% to 7%. So with all these aspects, the government of India also has started in a small way as of now with regard to that Satyabhama portal. Even that can be extended to the startups where it is done similar thing to give support to the startups elsewhere in other parts of the world, whether it is Western world or Eastern world. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.